Welcome everyone to the Electric Coaches channel, and this is a new segment of EF Talk. All right, and here I'm going to talk about uh, putting together an electric football team from the ground up. And there are a number of ways that you can start that. All right. Now, as you already know from the last EF talk that I had done, I believe that was about maybe like a year ago, I believe it was. I said there are three things you're going to need when you play electric football. You're going to need some type of base, and these bases right here are from ITZ. All right, there are other kinds of bases, but I just grabbed these just to show you, to illustrate. You need a base, and you're going to need figures. These are game day figures here. All right, you're going to need your figures to represent your players, right? And you're going to need some type of board, whether it's a traditional board like this one, and this is the 2 to 500 board, 2 to 500 model, or you're going to use a custom board like the one you see here. All right, and again, this board you see here is, I entitled it Electric Coach Park. All right, let me put this back, get this back in position here, and let me grab this little mat here that's fell off the table as I was lifting the board up. Right? So those are the three things you're going to need to play electric football. Right? But I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about building a electric football team. All right? Now I showed you a sample of a game day figure. All right, there are many figure manufacturers in the hobby. Like we have, like I said, Game Day. All right, they're located in Newport News, Virginia, and you have 808 figures. They're located in Hawaii. There's another 808 pose right here. It's another one. All right, another 808 pose. Okay. You have also figures. There's another bag of figures. This is a sample figure from footballfigure.net. All right, they're located in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. This is a bag of their figures. All right, and you have your classic Haiti Repro figures. This is the figure that goes all the way back to the late 1960s. Long history with these figures in this hobby. This figure, by the way, is the Haiti Repro blocker. This figure right here is the Haiti Repro running back. Let's see, I'm going to jump over here and grab the Haiti Repro linebacker pose. All right, and there are many others. Okay, so you have your figures, you got a board, a vibrating board, all right, like that, and you got bases. Those are three things you need. So now you say, well, you got all these different figures, which ones do I use? Right? You can use any of the figures you want. Okay? If you want to use the traditional Haiti Repro figures, right? Only those, you can. If you want to use only game day figures, which a lot of guys in the hobby today are using, they get their order of game day poses, and they work with those figures. They play with those, all right? If you want to play with 808 figures, you can do that, right? Footballfigure.net, you can go with those. Now, if you're me, right, I use all of them. I blend all my figures and I make a team out of them, right? Now, you say, well, I can just take the figures and use them as they are. Sure you can, right? You can grab a player, you can grab a group of players. As long as you got, 11 players on the field, standard figures like this, set them up. I'm just grabbing these Haiti Repros. I sorted my figures. I just put all the Haiti Repro blockers in one bag, right? And you paint each figure, right? And I'm going to go more in detail in this, but this is just a little intro here, because I'm going to take you over to the monitor, and I'm going to give you a close up on these figures. All right. So you take your traditional figures as they are, and you paint them up, and you put a number on those figures. You put a base on them, and hey, you on your way. You can play, right? Or you can take those figures and you can push the envelope and you can customize those figures. You can make them look different. You can change the pose, get a Dremel tool, cut them up, use some modeling clay, and change the characteristic of that figure, right? So let me go back to this Haiti Repro blocker real quick. I'm just gonna grab it, and again, I'm gonna show you close up some of the other things with these figures you can do, right? Okay, here's a Haiti Repro blocker figure right here, right? You can cut this figure up with a Dremel tool and use some sculpting clay and make this figure look totally different. Okay, you get the figures from the manufacturer and you change what that figure looks like. Now, some of you may say, well, why would I want to change the figure? Why would I want to cut the figure up and make it look like something else? Isn't it good enough as is? Well, it is, sure, yeah. Hey, look, these game day figures, they sweet, right? They're awesome. And again, I'm going to show you, all right, up close, what I did with those figures, right? And with other figures. Yeah, you can, the figure as is out the bag, you can take it as is and play with it. But why would you want to change the look of the figure? Two reasons why. One, in this game, the coaches are very good. I, for one, am one of those coaches. If I see a particular figure, let me grab another one here. Let me grab one I didn't show you yet. Yeah, there's another figure called Buzzball. I don't have those on the table, but I'll just take this Haiti Repro figure again. All right, this figure right here. Upon seeing it, I already know exactly how I'm going to play against it. If my opponent shows me this figure, if you show up on the table against me, I know when I see this figure right here, I know how I'm going to play against it. All right. If you show up with a Reginald Rutledge figure, this is a standard Reginald Rutledge footballfigure.net figure. You show up with that, I already know how I'm going to play against it off the top. So coaches, serious coaches in this hobby, they know how to look at your figure and say, yep, I know what I'm going to do with that. Because guess what, y'all? Although the base is the life of the figure, the pose of that figure also has an effect on what that player is going to do. So the base and the player combined, the base and the figure combined gives you your outcome, all right? So a coach, if he sees a standard figure, okay, this game day figure, for example, right? This is as game day sends this figure to me, this is what it looks like, this particular figure. This figure is called, game day calls this figure, this pose, the Hitman. All right? They call it the Hitman. Okay? So if you show up on a table with standard figures as they come from the manufacturer, your opponent can gain some idea on how he's going to play against you. All right? Now, the second reason why you may want to change or customize the look of your figures is because you want to put your own personal touch on your figures. Because, let me go back to this Haiti Repro blocker again. I could paint this figure a particular team. Let's say I paint this figure Dallas Cowboy, right? That those let's say I paint him in the white jerseys with the ice blue silver pants and the silver helmet, and I decal the figure. And let's say another coach, he paints his Cowboys using the same figure, the Haiti Repro blocker figure. Well, our figure's pretty much going to look the same because we get decals from the same people in the hobby, right? So the paint, pretty much, unless you do like a real extreme paint job like dry brush technique or something like that, if you just do a standard paint job using, in this case, if we're painting the Cowboy, you painting the white jersey, the ice blue silver pants, and decals, your Cowboy's going to look just like the next guy's Cowboys. It ain't gonna be nothing different with you. See? So those are the two reasons why you might want to customize your figures. Now, customizing, look, it's a whole nother aspect, a whole nother level of this hobby. You know, for example, let me see, I'm gonna grab a figure real quick. Well, you know what? Let's do this. I'm gonna take you over to the screen here, and I'm going to show you some pictures. And we're going to I'm going to show you a little something here concerning the same figures I just showed you on the table, right? Remember that Haiti Repro blocker that I showed you? Let me grab this one. Okay. This is a Haiti Repro blocker, the same one I just got to talking about, right? Now you see the figure on the left, right? That's how the figure looks in its original state when it comes out the package. All right? We're going to write it right here. Okay, we're going to say Haiti Repro. Kind of messy. Let's erase that. Let's clean that up a little bit. Haiti. Wow, I can't write on this board today. All right, we'll just say H. I didn't want to magnify. How about this? We just want to write today. Just want to do it today. The figure on the left is a Haiti Repro blocker pose, right? Now you look at the figure on the right. That's how it looks when you paint it. That's a 1990s Buffalo Bill that I painted. I think it was probably about maybe like 10 years ago. Paint job still fresh, right? Okay, you can play just like that. You can paint all your figures, a specific team, put a number on them, and go. All right? Let's see what we got. Let's move over. All right, that's a buzz ball. Yeah, let's do that. Now, these figures right here are, the figure on the left is from a company called Buzzball. All right? Now, again, that's how the figure looks. Okay, yeah, we're looking better now. Buzzball. All right? The figure on the left and the middle figure is a Buzzball figure. The one on the left is how the figure looks when it comes out the bag. Okay? The middle figure, that's one of my Eagles. I had that Eagle since like 2003. That's how the figure looks when it's been painted. All right? Now, if you look at the figure on the far right, That's the same figure, except it's been modified. It used to, this guy over here on the right, this guy right here, okay? He used to be the two guys you see on the left. So you're asking me, how did I get the figure to look like that? A Dremel tool and sculpting clay. All right. Let's close this one. I want to go. Let's go. I want to stay on this Haiti Repro lineman for a minute. All right. Now, right now, I'm working on. I've been saving some New Orleans Saints. I've been working on them real slow because I've been saving them for this particular video that I'm showing you guys today. Now, here is a team of Saints that I made last year. All right. These were the Saints I used in the Go Back Go Return to EC video. This is the offensive line that I used, right? Now you see the three guys in the middle, right here in the middle. They are, again, the Haiti Repro blocker figures, all right? And the tackle figures, the left tackle and your right tackle, this guy over here, these figures are from footballfigure.net. This guy here and this guy here, footballfigure.net. All right? So I combined those two types of figures to form an offensive line. You see? This is what I said earlier. You can like take figures, all your figures, and you can mix and match them to form a team. So I used two different brands of figures to make this offensive line, right? So as I was building my new team of Saints, right? I don't want to use these linemen anymore. Let me show you what I did. Let's see, okay, here is my new offensive line for my Saints. Let's go back to the old offensive line. This is the old offensive line, all right? And this is my new offensive line. Not a single Haiti Repro figure is in that line. All of these figures are from footballfigure.net. Every last one of them. Because I wanted it to be that way. All right? Let's move on to another figure. Let's see. Let's look at, okay, let's go over here and get this. I want to show you, I want to grab this one. Okay. You're now looking at a defensive player for my Saints. This figure here, these figures here, represent my defensive end, Cameron Jordan of the New Orleans Saints, right? Again, you look at the figure on the left, that is a Haiti Repro linebacker pose. That's how the figure looks when it comes out the bag. I got a team of Saints in the white jerseys that I've had for years, right? And that's the figure you see in the middle. I took the Haiti Repro linebacker pose and I painted it to be the Saint that you see in the middle. That's my Cameron Jordan as a Haiti Repro linebacker figure, right? Well, as I was building my new Saints, the ones I'm doing now, I didn't want Cameron Jordan to be a Haiti Repro figure anymore. I went and got one of my game day figures and I customized the game day figure and made it look like the guy you see on the right. This guy right here. That's Cameron Jordan, CJ. You see? Now, as you look at that customized figure, it's got the face mask, jersey number, and you can see the Saints, chap on the helmet, right? you basically, you see everything. You see the Saint symbol on the helmet. You see the stripes on the pants. And if you look at the neck, using my Dremel tool, I was able to carve out a space to create a neck, so that way you can see the difference between the helmet and the shoulder. See, that's what customizing does for you. Now mind you, there's more I could do to bring that figure out, but for the sake of time, I didn't go all the way with it. But that right there is what I'm talking about when I say you want to change the character. You want to make a customized figure, and you want the figure to look like your work. Well, this is an example of that. All right. Let me go and grab another pose here. Let's see. Let's get I'm gonna go get this one. Now, what you're looking at here is the figure on the left is a classic Haiti Repro running back, right? It comes from the same family as the Haiti Repro linebacker and their blocker pose. All right. Now, the other two figures, the one that's in the middle and the one that's on the right, are from B-Nut. Those are B-Nut figures. He has figures also. I didn't name those figures in the beginning of the video. But those two figures, on the one in the middle and the Seattle Seahawk you see, are B-Nut figures. But the reason why I use the Haiti Repro running back is because the B-Nut figure, the original B-Nut figure, looks just like the Haiti Repro running back. And the point that I'm trying to make here is, I took that running back figure, this figure you see right here, all right? I took that figure and I customized it to look like the player you see in the middle. He's going to join my Saints eventually. That's going to be a tight end figure right there, all right? And I also use the same pose here, right? The Haiti Repro pose here, right? I use that to make the Seahawk figure you see on the far right. You see? This is what I mean by customize. You take an original figure and you make it look like something else. This is a technique that you can do to build a team. And if you want to, and like I said earlier, if you want to create an edge, if you want to, create a wrinkle on your team, so it doesn't make it so easy for your opponent to look at your team and formulate a plan on how he is going to attack your players. Customizing is a way to circumvent that. All right. Let's go around some more here. Let me grab another figure. Okay. Now you're looking at another game day figure. Now this is purely game day, right? No Haiti Repro and going to a game day. This figure right here is called the Moss figure. Two kinds of Moss figures, right? The figure you see on the left is how the game day figure looks when you take it out the pack, right? Like I showed you the Hitman figure on the table, but this figure, like I said earlier, this figure is called the Moss figure, right? Now, this Moss figure, its left leg is up and the right leg is planted. Now, my customized Moss figure you see on the right, which is a New Orleans Saint, it will eventually be a completed New Orleans Saint. And by the way, I left it incomplete for the sake of this video. Right? I'm showing you team building. All right. So I took the game day figure and I enhanced it. And the enhancement was done with the helmet and the torso. I took the figure apart, separate the torso from the legs, separate the head from the torso, right? Using my Dremel tool, I hollowed out the inside of the figure, because remember, there are weight restrictions. All right, So if you're customizing figures, and if you intend to use your figures in a tournament, right? If you intend to use your figures in a tournament, you have to be mindful of how much that figure weighs. That's base included. The figure and the base included. So I took the game day figure you see here, right? And I customized it and made it look like the figure on the right. I brought out the shoulders. I extended the height slightly. All right. And I did that because by opening up the shoulders and raising the height, when I put the decals, the shoulder numbers on the decals here, right, and the team emblem on the shoulders there, and the jersey number, this is going to be number 13, right? He's going to be number 13. His name escapes me right now. I think his first name is Michael, but I forget his last name anyway. By customizing like this, again, remember how I said earlier you can open the neck up? Like if you look at the figure, you can see, let me erase this real quick, right? You look at the figure's helmet, right, in this area right here, and you look at the neck, I can paint the complexion of the figure. I can do the face and get the neck too. So it kind of makes your figures look more human, all right? And this is what I'm doing to build my team. I'm coming from ground up and I'm sculpting and I'm painting, decaling in an effort to make my figures stand out from everybody else's, right? Okay. So that's a game day wide receiver right there that I'm going to add to my team. So remember, I got my offensive line is going to be figures from footballfigure.net, right? One of my wide receivers is a game day pose. See, I'm taking figures from different places and I'm bringing them all into one team. Let's go and look at something else here. Let's do this. I like this one. I'm gonna go back to Haiti Repro. Now here we have a Haiti Repro defensive back figure. The figure on the left is from the same family as the Haiti Repro blocker and the running back and that linebacker pose, right? It's the Fab Five. Those are the Fab Five figures, okay? Now you look at the San Francisco 49er figure on the right. Well, he used to look like the guy on the left. You see the difference? Do you see the fullness in the shoulders? Right? He's got more girth in the upper body. See? So now when my opponent match up against that, he'll see a Haiti Repro DB, but the weight distribution is different, right? And the height is a little bit taller. So an opponent is going to be like, well, how am I going to match up against that at the point of attack? How am I going to block that guy? How is my receiver going to separate from this guy if my receiver happens to come in contact with this player? That opponent is going to be scratching his head trying to figure out, how am I going to beat this guy? Okay? Let's move on to something else. I got a lot of pictures in here. All right? Let's do this. I want to show you this figure right here. Now, you're looking at, again, a game day figure. Both of those figures are game day figures. Now, remember the original the Saints offensive line I showed you? Let's go back and get that real quick. All right? These guys, they were the linemen for my Alvin Kamara figure, which are both of these, right? The Alvin Kamara figure that you see here on the left played with those Haiti Repro linemen that you saw in the previous picture, right? In the Go Back Go Return of EC video That Alvin Kamara, the Alvin Kamara you see on the left, was in that video with that line. So when I started creating this new Saints team, I made a new Alvin Kamara, the one you see on the right. Now you look at the difference. Both of those figures are game day figures. The one on the left is a standard game day figure straight out the pack. I took it as it was and I painted it, put a face mask on it and a number, and it was my Alvin Kamara figure, right? So with these new Saints I got, I created the new Alvin Kamara, the one you see on the right, number 41, the one on the right. That's the new sculpted, customized Alvin Kamara. Let's move to another picture here. Okay, that's a head-on shot there. The Alvin Kamara figure on the right, you can see the neck, and you can see the face, the visor inside the face mask. I added that. Same paint, right? I used the same paints that I used, the same paints for both of these players right here, right? But the figure on the right has a little bit more definition as a result of the customized job I'm doing to make this team a fully customized team, and I'm in an effort to change the characteristic of each of my figures. All right. Let's see what else we got. Let me show you this one. All right, here's a Haiti Repro blocker again. All right. Now remember how I said you can play with the figures as they are? Well, this Haiti Repro blocker, I converted it to the two figures that you see on the right. Number 53 and number 79. These are Philadelphia Eagles, right? They came from the figure you see on the left. They used to be a Haiti Repro blocker. And again, if you look at the body of the figure, you can see that. Look at the torso, you can see the difference. My lineman, number 79, I stood him up a little bit taller. And number 53, I dipped him down a little bit lower, like a linebacker should be. And of course, painted, applied decals, a face mask, and now I have an entirely different figure. All right. I mean, we're gonna stick around right here for a little while. We're gonna go to the game table momentarily. We're gonna go back to the game table, and we got, because after I digress for a moment, but after you sculpt these figures, when you change the characteristic of your figure, you gotta run test that figure and see how it reacts to it and how it runs on the base before you start painting it. All right. Let's go to. I want to pick. Let's go over here and get this one. Here is a footballfigure.net pose. See the figure on the left? Again, that's how the figure looks when it comes out the pack. So like all the other figures, I took that Reginald Rutledge figure right there, or footballfigure.net figure, the one that's on the left, and I used my hobby knife and Dremel tool, and I cut that figure up, and I made the two figures you see on the right. Both of them are offensive tackles. Philadelphia Eagle, Seattle Seahawk. You see? This is how I build my teams. All right? Let's go get. Okay, here we go. Let's do this one. Still in the Haiti Repro blocker again. Now, here's a Haiti Repro blocker. Remember how we talked earlier? You can keep the figure as is, you can paint it as is, and do what you want, and go ahead and play with it, right? Well, the figure on the right is my other San Francisco 49er cornerback, right? That figure was derived from the Haiti Repro blocker that you see. Using a Dremel tool, I removed the arms, removed the head, separate the torso, and began to rebuild the figure using modeling clay and I came up with the figure you see here. Move back. Okay, now, see this one right here? Okay, the figure on the left is a Haiti Repro linebacker, right? And the 49er you see on the right, that pose was sculpted from that Haiti Repro linebacker. See? So now when if my opponent were to match up against this corner, now if I didn't make this video, they wouldn't have anything to go off of, but because I'm making this video to share with the community and with and with you people out there on YouTube, right? If my opponent saw that, he's gonna have to think about what he's gonna do against that particular pose, right? And then combined with the base that I tweaked for it, this corner is a formidable opponent. You see? Although it's nothing more than a Haiti Repro linebacker pose. But as you look at that picture, you can see the difference. You see the shoulders, you see the slender waistline. You see? This is what customizing does for you. All right? Let's grab something else. Okay, let me get this one. Now, here is a pose from a B-nut figure. The figure on the left is an original B-nut figure out the pack, right? And the figure you see on the right is the customized version of that figure you see on the left. You see how the torso stands up a little taller. The arms have been the arms are totally different. I got the arms from a different set. You can buy body parts. You can buy arms and heads. Like Game Day sells arms and heads. You can get heads from Blaine Sukiyami out in Hawaii. You can get heads from ITZ also. I got some helmets from them also, like the wide receiver pose I had shown you. The helmet came from ITZ, all right? But this figure right here, the 49er figure you see on the right, was derived from that B-nut figure you see on the left. And again, using a Dremel tool, cut the figure up, hollow the inside of the figure out, right? Because remember, we gotta be mindful how much the figure weighs, right? And using modeling clay, rebuilt the figure to look like that guy you see on the right, right? Just moving around, I'm just showing you. Let me go back to that wide receiver pose real quick. See the helmet right here on the wide receiver? The helmet came from ITZ. So I took the Game Day helmet off, right? And I put the ITZ helmet on the Game Day figure, all right? Let's see what else we got. Okay, let me show you this guy. Now this is the raw version of one of the sculpts that I've done. Like all the figures you've seen, you know, that all the customized figures you've seen, well, this is what they look like as I sculpt on them. All right? It look really crude at this point, right? Let's move over a little bit. Now, this figure right here, this is what it looks like now after it's been fully sculpted and I primed it. I'm gonna have to let me see, move over some. Okay, come on. All right, I'm gonna re-sand that figure anyway. But this figure, just like all the rest, right? You look at the figure on the left. That's one of my hand painted Detroit lions I made some years ago. Now this sculpting thing, this customizing thing I've only been customizing for like 2 years. Now, like I said before in Tweak Lounge 101, I've been in this game my whole life, and I'm still learning stuff. So customizing figures is something I started practicing on. And by the way, I use that as a teachable moment. Like for you guys out there who, you may be first learning how to tweak and you don't know where to start. Well, take it from somebody who never sculpted before. I had to learn how to sculpt. So I put the time in and I practiced and I developed myself and I got myself to where I am now, where I can like take a whole figure and make it look like something else entirely, right? Well, here's an example, or the pictures you've seen previously are examples of that. The figure on the left is a buzzball figure, right? And I took that pose to make the guy you see on the right. He's going to also join my Saints as well. Okay? This here is a rear of the picture. All right? And you see the difference in the shoulders, right? And the overall pose. The pose, the part of the pose that's the same are the legs. I never touch the legs, although I can, right? But the legs are good enough, the pose of the legs are good enough. Mainly, I like to work on the torso so I can get those shoulders open, where I can have that space I like to have for my numbers and my shoulder emblems, and I can create that separation between the neck and the shoulder pad. All right, let's move over some. That's what we got right here. Okay, that's back to the 49er figure. All right, let me do this. Let's go back and get. All right, I don't have it. Did I have it? All right, where did I put it at? Okay, I didn't put it in here. All right, I didn't put that. Those are the 3 I left. Okay, so now that's pretty much it for. Well, no, let me come over here. Let me do this one. Yeah, these 2 right here. I'm gonna pull this one up. All right, now you're looking at a figure I disassembled. Okay, right here are the legs, and over there is the torso. And you can see that hole in the bottom of it, right? That's where I ran my Dremel through it, and I took out all the insides. So that way, the inside plastic, that way I can reduce the weight of the figure when I put the clay on the body of the figure, right? Let's move that. Let's go over some. Now, here is that figure. These 2 pieces you see right here, I brought them together to begin sculpting, to begin building this figure. All right? Let's see, move over. That's the last one. Okay, let's go back. Okay, now, these 2 poses, these are some other figures that I created a while ago. They are going to be tight ends. I'm going to use them as tight ends because they're a little bit too chunky to be running backs. I mean, I could use them as running backs, but I'm going to use them as tight ends. In fact, I may even, grind them down a little bit smaller. I might do some work around the shoulders and around the waistline there to slim things up, especially on this guy right here on the left. Waistline is a bit thick, so I'm going to do some modification on it. Both of them, they're a little bit big. Although their weight is within standard. It's no heavier than the 4.0, 4 grams for a tournament. All right, the weight is good. Let's see. Yeah, I think I covered everything here. I covered everything I want to talk about regarding figures and Uh, let's see, there's one more here. This is buzzball. Here's another buzzball pose. All right, see the figure on the left? Now, that's a painted buzzball pose, but that's the original pose for that particular figure, right? Now you see that 49er on the right? Well, that pose was derived from the guy you see on the left. And as you can see, there's a little bit more girth with the figure. A little bit, it's slightly taller, and the shoulders and the torso is a little bit more defined. Okay? Bring that out. What's this one right here? Okay, yeah, okay, we already seen this one. This is a frontal of the buzzball figure here. All right. Yes, I believe. Okay, I covered everything here. All right, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna go back over to the game table, and I gotta clear everything off this table because we're gonna do some run tests. We're gonna take, this is the this figure right here was that buzzball figure you recently saw, right? We're gonna run that figure, and this is another figure here that I didn't show in the pictures, but it's one of my sculpts, right? It's a tight end, by the way. No, you did see this picture. You did see this figure right here. This was the figure that I showed with the Haiti Repro running back pose, right? So we gotta run that one because we're gonna add these guys to our Saints team. All right. So I gotta put these game day figures away, and I gotta put them in my box, and clear the table off so we can run our figure, and we got our scale here. Gotta weigh these guys. Gotta do that, and then that should be it. All right. So give me a moment, and let me clean up the set right here, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, everybody. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna test run the figure that you see in the middle here. All right. It's this guy right here. Okay. He is on the game table right now, right here. Okay. And I took a base that I tweaked in the Tweak Lounge 101 video. That's this bass right here. This is one of the basses that we tweaked in the Tweak Lounge video, Tweak Lounge 101 video. And we're going to run that figure on this bass, because all I want to see is how well does the figure handle. This particular bass is not going to, it may not be assigned to this figure, okay? And we're also going to run test the figure as well. All right? So let's run him and see what he does. Okay? Okay. Not bad. Not very fast, but let's turn the board up a little bit. Okay. There we go. Turn it back down some. Run it again. Okay, runs pretty good. Runs pretty good. Okay, let's do this. The board's kind of rattling a little bit because it's like right up here on this corner. Okay, we'll just keep it there for now. All right. Run them one more time. Okay, good run. All right. Now remember, the figure and base combined can't be any heavier than 4 grams. All right, we're going to do a weigh-in after we do these run tests. All right, so this is the bass that we tweak in Tweak Lounge 101. So what I'm going to do now, I want to take another bass. I want to look at this double dial bass that I tweaked a while back, and I want to run the guy on that bass. Let's see what he does. I'm going to keep that bass right here. We're going to set it off to the side. Let's run them, see what happens. Okay, so got a good get off. All right, let's try it again here. Okay, not bad, not bad. Now mind you, when you sculpt figures, you're adding a little more weight to the top of the figure. All right, so you got to keep that in mind as well when you tweak your bases, because in game time play, if the ball carrier is knocked down by a defender, that constitutes a fumble, and you have to flip a coin to determine who recovers the fumble. Some leagues, it's if two defenders hit the ball carrier. I mean, I digress for a moment, but I just want to talk about this. If two defenders hit the ball carrier, that alone constitutes a fumble. The ball carrier doesn't have to fall. All right. Now, if at any time if your ball carrier falls down as a result of being hit by a defender, that's a fumble. So when you sculpt your players, right, you got to keep in mind the weight distribution. All right, let's run them again. Okay, good speed. Now, by pressing down this part of the board, it causes the board to really rattle. You can also tweak your boards as well. All right. Okay, we press there again. Okay, that sounds better. So I had to bend the board up a little bit from the bottom. All right. Let's run them again. Okay, it's got good movement. It's okay. All right, this guy runs really well. Okay, so let's do this. Before we move on to our other figure, this guy right here, we gotta run test him, right? Before we go to him, we're going to weigh this figure, all right? So we have our scale here, right? And this scale is rated for 0.01 grams. So if your figure is 4.01, that figure is too heavy. That figure will not be allowed in tournament play. And that's why this scale is more precise, all right? Because see, some scales, they don't measure, I believe it is down to the hundredths. I believe it's not down to the hundredths. So it may show you 4.0, but it won't show you 4.01, all right? This scale, if your player is 4.01, this scale will show you that. So we're going to adjust the camera real quick, and we're going to dip it down to our end zone on Electric Coach Park. We'll put it right here. Set the scale right there, so that way we can get so you can see the readout better with the camera angle like this. Turn our scale on. All right. Okay, it's all zeros. All right. So now we have our base from that we tweaked at Tweak Lounge 101. We set our figure on the board on the scale, and it comes in at 3.77 grams. That's a good look. All right, so when we apply decals, paint, that may bring it up to about maybe like 3.79 maybe. We're still within specifications, all right? But let's do this. We're not going to just weigh just this particular base. Let's back it off a little bit here. We're not going to weigh just this particular base right here. We're going to grab another ITZ base, all right? This one hasn't been tweaked yet, but to get an idea of how much room I have for weight, I went and got a new ITZ Formula 37 base, a dial base. Let's see how much this figure weighs with that base. Look at that. 4.03. 4.02. And while I'm at it, let's do this. I'm going to get my other scale, this one right here, and I want to show you something. You see how this one reads 4.03? That's with this particular base. Now, if I modify this base, I'll be able to get the weight down, right? I want to show you something real quick. We're going to take this figure and move them away, move the scale over, and we're going to bring this scale in, zero that out, and we're going to put this same guy on this scale. Let's see. Let's look at how it reads. It shows you exactly 4.0. You see? So this scale doesn't give you the tenths. Okay, so it's supposed to be tenths, 100ths, and 1000s. So this scale right here, this one right here, is more deep. This scale is more detailed than this scale right here. So that scale says 4.0. All right. So we're gonna take this one, we're gonna move it out, turn that one off, and we're gonna put it away. All right. And we're gonna stay with this scale. All right. So now we already know that this base as is going to give us a reading that's too heavy for tournament play, right? So this base, I would modify this base. I would cut some plastic out of this base, all right? Like I did with my Tyler Lockett. It's the Tyler Lockett figure, right? As a matter of fact, let's set him on there real quick since we got him. And he comes in at 3.94139. Okay, 3 point. That one is kind of borderline. That one's sketchy. He comes in exactly 4.0, 3.99, 3.98. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take that base off Tyler Lockett, right? And we're going to move it to the guy we just got through run testing. And we're going to look at the weight on that. Okay, see that base on this figure is 3.87. You see? See on the Tyler Lockett figure, right? That base is borderline, it's suspect. It goes 3.99, 4.0, and then it bounces to 4.01. It's real sketchy. You see? So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take that Tyler Lockett base, that's right there, and we're gonna put it on that figure, and I'm gonna run them, and I'm gonna see how it looks. All right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna move our figure, take our scale, move it out of the way, and we're gonna bring our camera back up to the field, like so. Right, make a small adjustment here. Back the camera off. Let's move our ITZ bases off the field here. So this is the base that was on my Tyler Lockett figure, right? And we're going to run him. Let's see what happens. Okay, not bad, not bad. Now it doesn't run the distance. Doesn't run the distance, but does pretty good. Run it again. Okay, not bad. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this bass back on Tyler Lockett for right now. Okay. So now we're gonna move this over here, and this bass came off of all right, we're gonna put this bass back on our runner here. All right. Now I did say I was going to run test that guy. I'm not gonna do that right now, because really your weight restrictions, you really gotta pay attention to your linemen, right? Now remember the New Orleans Saints, that new Saints line that I built, right? These guys right here, you really got to be up on your weight with these linemen. Like in real football, you got your linemen 300 plus pounds. If those guys get too close to 400, you got to bring the weight down, right? Well, we're going to do a weigh-in of these offensive linemen you see right here. Let's go back to the game table. And here they are in real life. And we're going to lay these guys down. And we're going to take these guys. We're going to adjust our camera. We're going to get this scale. We're going to do our weigh-in right here. All right. Remember, we're building a team, right? We're building a team and getting it ready for tournament play. Now, because these linemen were made from Reginald Rutledge poses, Reginald Rutledge figures, footballfigure.net figures tend to be very heavy, even after you hollow them out or you shave them down some, right? Let's clean things up over here. All right. We'll put that right here. Okay. Let's turn our scale back on. Okay, turn the scale back on. And what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this ITZ new CL2 base, Former 37 base, as is, brand new out the pack, and we're going to put it on each one of our linemen. And we're going to just see where it takes us in regards to weight. And this is going to give me some idea on what type of modifications I'm going to have to put on the base. So now, I'm going to weigh in the figure on the left. That's my right tackle, right? Yeah, that's the right tackle. As you look at it, it's the left, right? It's your left, but it's the right tackle from the perspective of the quarterback. All right. So we're gonna put him on the scale here, and it comes in at 4.16. Now this base, as is, it won't be able to play with that figure, right? Because remember, we're building a team, so we need to know what we have to do to get our team within specification. All right, so we're going to use the same base. And now we're going to grab one of our guards. This is our right guard. We'll put him on the scale here, and he comes in at 4.07. Let's stand him up. All right, we're going to stand him up. 4.06, right? So if I modify this base, I cut out some of this material inside here, might be able to get that base and figure to go. And I think I got a base here that I can try. I think I can got a base that's like that where I can perhaps, here's a modified Formula 37 base that I cut the plastic out of, right? It's on this 49er safety that you saw in the pictures. Matter of fact, while we got him out, let's weigh him. Okay, that base and figure comes in at 3.87, right? Okay, let's see. All right, got him glued on a little bit. Let's see if I can lift it off of here. And I'm going to put it on my right guard. This is going to give me some idea. Let me know if I modify the Formula 37 base to look like this, will it make weight? And it does. 3.92. See, that's a good look, right? So if I cut the excess plastic out of the inside of this shell, that will reduce the weight of this base, which will allow me to use it on these footballfigure.net figures, right? All right. Let's go to our center. This guy right here. All right. Gain some perspective. These guys right here, see? We're going to go to our center. All right. Sculpt. All right. That's what we want. We're looking at our center now, right? Back to the table. We're going to weigh this guy. Okay, even with, now this is the modified base, right? That guy comes in at a 4.07. It's too heavy. All right. Let's go back to our right tackle, right? We're going to put him on modified base. What does he weigh? 4.03. Wow, okay, so he's a bit too heavy. Right, so let's go to our left guard. All right. Let's see here. Left guard. Let's see, left guard. Okay, hold on. Got some problems here. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Had to get this figure balanced real quick. Okay, this is our left guard. All right. That's the second figure from the right. So it's on your right, but from the quarterback's perspective, it's your left guard, okay? All right, so we're gonna weigh this lineman and see how much he comes in at. And he is weighing a spectacular 4.26 grams. And that's with the base modified. There's nothing else left to cut from that base. So guess what, y'all? We gotta revisit this figure. We gotta look into this figure and see where we can reduce some weight. And based on what I'm seeing, let's switch to the picture. If you look at his height compared to the left tackle, right? And we talk about the second figure from the right. All right, second figure from the right. We're talking about this guy right here, right? If you look at his height compared to the left tackle, right? This guy right here. And if you look at the other guard, he's a little bit shorter, right? That tells me I put a little bit too much height in the waistline. All right. Now, guess what, y'all? I already knew that, but I saved it as a teachable moment for this particular video. All right. So I'm going to open up the waistline of this figure. I'm going to take my Dremel and I'm going to open up that figure again, the waistline. And I'm going to take out some of the clay I put in there to drop that weight down. See, This is why I didn't decal the figures yet, because I had to weigh them, got to run them, and test them to make sure the figure performs. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to like get the figure all customized, decaled up, face mashed up, and then find out the figure don't run right and it's too heavy. See? All right, let's go back to the table because we gotta weigh our left tackle. All right. Again, we're talking about team building, right? We gotta build this team. We gotta get this team ready for play. All right. So remember, I got this modified ITZ CL2 base. I'm gonna put this guy, our left tackle, on the base, and he comes in at 4.14. So really, only one guy, only one of these linemen, passed the weight physical. And that was my right guard. He came in at 3.92. So the center, let me look at my left tackle again. Okay, we're gonna put him on there. Okay, he's lighter, he's the closest, but he's still too heavy. He's 4.03, right? Too much weight. So really only one of my linemen passed their weight physical. The other 4 linemen need to be worked on. All right, so this guy right here, he passed. The other lineman here, the tackle, the center, the left guard, the left tackle, they all failed the weight physical. So I gotta now go back and look at these linemen and either sand away around the shoulders, or this guard right here, this guy right here, he's gonna have to get that guard, he's gonna have to get opened up again, and we gotta remove some clay from his waistline. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today in this video: how to build a team, how to get a team ready for game time play. And it's entirely up to you how far you want to go with your team preparation. Do you want to play with your figures as they are when they come out the bag? Or do you want to take your figures to another level and customize and redesign your figures, changing the characteristic of your figures? It's entirely up to you. All right? This hobby is very rich, has a lot to offer. There's a lot of techniques in it. And there are many approaches as to how to play this game and as to how to get ready for it. So that's all I got for right now. I'm Mo. Thanks for watching.